So while there's no strong evidence of specific health benefits yet, if you enjoy it, why not? If you love avocado, it's totally fine to have it every now and then. But if you're on a journey toward better health or body composition, like the participants in our broad study were, it can really help to take a break from the high-fat foods like avocado and coconut for a little while and explore new flavors from the wide world of whole plant-based foods. Coconut milk is popular in Thai curries, baking, and tropical drinks, but there are plenty of lower-fat alternatives. Other plant-based milks, maybe with a little bit of coconut essence to keep that flavor there. Fruit purees for baking, so banana, apple, or pear, for example, or you can use a pinch of cornstarch or tapioca flour to thicken your sauces. Keep avocado and coconut for special dishes or celebrations. And finally, today we have everyone's favorite, especially around this time of year, which is chocolate. So while we've all seen the headlines claiming chocolate is good for us, the truth is a little more bittersweet. These studies usually focus on real dark chocolate, which is typically at least 70% cocoa, which contains significantly higher levels of flavonoids and antioxidants compared to regular milk chocolate. In fact, some of the most promising studies use forms of chocolate or cocoa extract that are so pure and bitter, they're not even available to the general public. Most chocolate sold in stores includes a long list of added ingredients, including refined sugar, milk powder, salt, and partially hydrogenated oils like palm, soybean, or cottonseed. So true chocolate is made primarily from cocoa solids, chocolate liquor, and some cocoa butter, but that's obviously not what you're getting in the average chocolate bar. Cocoa and cacao powders are a great way to enjoy a rich chocolatey flavor with less processing and far less fat than traditional chocolate. So even high-quality dark chocolate is a store-processed food, typically containing added sugar and averaging around 50 to 55% fat. While cocoa and cacao powders are still relatively high in fat, you only need a small amount, and when mixed with other whole plant-based foods, the fat's quickly diluted. So whether you use cocoa or cacao, they can both be combined with whole plant ingredients to create delicious chocolatey tasting recipes. So when you need chocolate fix, try recipes that combine cocoa powder with other wholesome plant-based ingredients. Some tasty examples include black bean brownies, silken tofu fudgesicles, chocolate oatmeal for breakfast, a mug of hot cocoa, or even one of the many plant-based chocolate milks that's now available. If you do go for chocolate, choose the real deal. At least 70% cocoa solids and ideally high-quality dark chocolate. Try dark chocolate infused with flavors like coffee, vanilla, chili, lavender, basil, or lemongrass. And you might even like carob, which is a naturally sweet, caffeine-free alternative to cocoa that's just 7% fat and offers a distinct earthy flavor all of its own. So chocolate is obviously deeply woven into our culture, from Easter and Valentine's Day to Halloween and Christmas. So it's no surprise that we're eager to believe any good news about chocolate, and the media, of course, knows this. And that's why there's a constant stream of articles celebrating the latest chocolate-related study, no matter how preliminary, overstated, or misinterpreted the findings might be. While chocolate does, of course, contain antioxidants and trace nutrients, the reality is that most of these potential benefits are dwarfed by the sugar, fat, and dairy packed into most commercial chocolate products. So in pre-conquest Mexico, cocoa wasn't just a food, it was in fact a currency. Cocoa beans were roasted, ground, and consumed only by the elite. Moctezuma II, the emperor of the Aztecs, is said to have consumed up to 60 portions of whipped bitter chocolate from a golden goblet each day. So while the Maya and Aztecs used cacao to make a frothy, unsweetened beverage, it wasn't until the 19th century that chocolate became heavily processed. This shifted what was obviously a once ceremonial rare drink into something mass-produced and overconsumed. Now, chocolate contains a mix of compounds that interact with the brain's reward and pleasure pathways, including caffeine, theobromine, and phenylethylamine, or the love chemical. These compounds have been linked to sensations of pleasure, calm, infatuation, and even exhilaration, which helps to explain why chocolate is so universally loved. Now, naloxone, which is a drug that blocks the brain's opioid receptors, can actually reduce the desire for high-fat, high-sugar foods, including chocolate, which suggests that these foods can trigger reward circuits in a drug-like way. Now, as you shift toward a diet of more whole plant-based foods, your cravings for hyperpalatable foods like chocolate tend to diminish anyway, and your brain becomes more sensitive to the natural, subtler sources of pleasure. So let's move on to some practical tips for eating more whole foods from plants. We'll start out with substitutes, replacements, and better ingredients. So if you ask most people who are changing to plant-based what the hardest food to give up is, the answer is almost always cheese. So it's fatty, salty, comforting, and it's everywhere. Our brains are wired to seek out these energy-dense foods, and aside from pure oils, cheese is among the highest, with around 74% of its calories from fat, which is even higher than bacon. But just like cookies go better with milk than with broccoli, cheese goes better with other processed foods than with whole plant-based foods anyway. So as you make more changes to your diet, cheese starts to feel less essential and your cravings will begin to fade. So many mild, firm cheeses like your cottage cheese, ricotta, and paneer can easily be replaced with firm tofu. This works really well because it absorbs the flavors of whatever you season and cook it with. For creamy cheeses like cream cheese or mascarpone, try using your silken tofu, sweet potato, pureed white beans, even a little bit of avocado. Add ingredients like lemon juice, vinegar, nutritional yeast, garlic, or herbs to create deliciously creamy sauces, dips, or spreads that are rich and satisfying. And for sweet dishes like cheesecake, mousse, or tarts, those same whole food ingredients, especially silken tofu, sweet potato, or avocado, can create smooth, indulgent textures. Now, when it comes to replacing oils, many soups, stews, and sauces traditionally begin by sauteing their ingredients in oil, but you don't actually need it. So try using water, wine, vegetable stock, or even the cooking liquid from beans or lentils. If you just add some small splashes as needed, this keeps things from sticking, and your onions and vegetables will still soften, brown, caramelize, and release their natural sugars and flavors. Some delicious oil-free plant-based soups and stews include potato leek, pumpkin or butternut squash soup, minestrone, and Moroccan bean stew, or try a spicy plant-based chili or vegetable curry. So in baked goods that call for pure fat, like butter, vegetable oil, olive oil, or coconut oil, simply replace with whole plant-based ingredients. For sweet treats, try using applesauce, mashed banana, jams or jellies, pureed dates or prunes. And for savory dishes, you can use silky vegetables like pumpkin, potato, eggplant, which can make excellent oil substitutes in your breads, risottos, soups, gravies, and sauces. Also, again, don't forget about avocado. It's the secret ingredient behind some of the best chocolate cake and cheesecake you'll ever taste. How about eggs? So eggs are obviously often used in baking to help bind ingredients and make them light and fluffy. But you don't need eggs, and whole plant-based alternatives can do the job just as well, with the added bonus of being cholesterol-free. For sweet treats like cakes or muffins, try applesauce or mashed banana. You can add a little bit of extra baking powder. For breads or pancakes, you can use a tablespoon of ground chia seeds or flax seeds mixed with 3 tablespoons of water. Aquafaba, the liquid from canned or cooked chickpeas, can be whipped into soft peaks, making it perfect for meringues, pavlovas, macaroons. And for recipes calling for egg whites, agar-agar is another great option. So while eggs might be the traditional symbol for breakfast, whole plant-based foods have been sharing the morning table with us for generations. Think of all the classics: oatmeal and bananas, pancakes and waffles, hash browns, mushrooms, tomatoes, baked beans, toast with peanut butter and jam, even the timeless continental breakfast. If you're still missing eggs, though, you can make a tofu scramble. So firm tofu has a texture strikingly similar to scrambled eggs. It soaks up the flavor of whatever you season it with. Turmeric, black salt, garlic, herbs, and veggies work beautifully. And finally, on to meat. So we're culturally obsessed with getting enough protein, yet the average Westerner already consumes nearly double the recommended amount. So all whole plant-based foods contain protein, and the more whole that they are, the more protein they contain. So even if you got all of your energy for the day from nothing but potatoes and corn, you'd still get about 10 to 15% of your calories from protein, which is more than enough. There's no need to combine foods or worry about whether your protein is complete. And if you're still unsure, then consider this. Some of the largest and strongest animals on Earth, like elephants, rhinos, and gorillas, build their powerful bodies entirely on plants. So while only a portion of the global population eats meat regularly, over 70 billion land animals and an estimated 1 to 2 trillion fish are killed for food each year. In the US, the average person will consume more than 21,000 animals over their lifetime. The World Health Organization has classified processed meats as a Group 1 carcinogen, and even unprocessed red meat is linked with earlier mortality and increased disease risk. If a recipe includes meat, try leaving it out or substituting it with plant-based ingredients that offer a similar bulk, texture, or satisfaction, like tofu, tempeh, or beans, rice, bulgur, millet, or couscous, or you can use chunky vegetables like potato, pumpkin, portobello mushrooms, carrots, cauliflower, or eggplant. Let's move on to how to tackle social occasions. So these days, it's obviously easier than ever to connect with like-minded people, many of you doing that at the moment. So online communities are full of people ready to share recipes, offer advice, and cheer you on as you eat more whole foods from plants. So look for groups with whole food plant-based or WFPB in their name. Of course, there's also a lot of vegan resources online, especially nowadays. And just keep in mind that vegan recipes aren't always designed with health in mind. So many are going to include your processed or high-fat plant-based ingredients. That having been said, these recipes are usually really easy to adapt. So with barbecue season coming up for you guys in the United States, whole foods from plants, fortunately, are really grill friendly and crowd pleasing. So fire up the grill and try your homemade or store-bought veggie burgers and sausages, grilled courgettes, eggplant, capsicums, or portobello mushrooms, veggie kebabs with tofu, pineapple, and peppers, corn on the cob. You can make a pasta or potato salad that's oil-free, or you can even do carrot dogs and jackfruit pulled pork. So when food's delicious, here's the secret. Nobody cares if it's whole food and plant-based. So here's some easy crowd-pleasing plant-based options for your next social gathering. Hummus with veggie sticks, guacamole and salsa with baked corn chips, baked wedges with creamy tofu sour cream, some fresh fruit kebabs, olives with pita bread, mini bean burritos, rice paper or spring rolls, and baked samosas. So sharing stories with your friends and family is part of what brings us together. And chances are they're going to be just as curious about your shift towards whole food plant-based eating as they are about your recent holiday, your new job, or your relationship. Probably even more interested, to be fair. It helps to have a few simple explanations or facts ready and just tailor them to how much you feel like talking. If you're not in the mood for a deep dive, you can always say something like Doug Lyle suggests, which is, it's just something I'm trying out and it seems to be working for me. You might be surprised though, because these conversations are often where you'll discover great recipe ideas, unexpected support, and maybe even some new inspiration. When you're invited over, it's totally okay to let your host know what you eat. They'll likely appreciate the heads up and may even prepare something just for you. A simple way to explain it is saying that you're eating meat and dairy free, and offering a few of your favorite meals or ingredients can be really helpful. If you're bringing a dish, bring something that you love, because if it's delicious to you, chances are that others are really going to enjoy it too. And it's also a great way to introduce people to tasty plant-based food without making it a thing. If you don't have any control over the menu, just have a bite beforehand. And once you're there, you might be surprised at how many plant-based staples are on offer. So bread, potatoes, rice, pasta, corn, fruit, and salads often make a solid showing. Now, if you're eating well at home, it's okay to relax a little bit in social settings. After all, the most important part is the connections and the memories, not just the contents of your plate. So finding a meat and dairy-free meal is often an easy thing to do, but oil-free and processed options can be trickier, unprocessed options, sorry, can be trickier when you're dining out or at someone else's place. So just remember, eating more whole foods from plants is about being kind to the planet, to animals, and most importantly, to yourself. Which leads really nicely into dining out. So as we've talked about, good food can enhance the dining experience, but what really matters is the company that you're with. So when you're out with your friends or colleagues, it's okay to go with the flow a little bit. Most menus have something plant-based to work with, a salad, a side of veggies, a grain bowl, or something you can customize. So do your best to make dining out about the experience, not just the ingredients. That having been said, with a few simple tricks, you can enjoy a whole food plant-based meal, even at a Texas roadside steakhouse. So start where most people do, which is with the appetizers. You'll often find a surprising number of plant-based options. When it comes to mains, most dishes can be easily adapted with just one or two simple changes. Try, for example, salsa instead of aioli or creamy dressings, steamed or grilled instead of sauteed. Hold the cheese on pizzas or pastas. Nowadays, you have to ask them to hold the vegan cheese as well. Lemon juice or balsamic vinegar instead of oil-based dressings. Fruit or sorbet in the place of ice cream. Now, if you're dining out and still want to enjoy a meal that's in the same style as everyone else, here are a few easy tricks. So plan ahead. So once you have a few restaurants in mind, casually suggest one to your friends early. Mention a couple of dishes that they might enjoy. Check the menu in advance, look online, or give the restaurant a quick call. Ask if they offer vegan options, because that's the term that most staff will recognize. And when you call ahead, politely suggest a dish or ask if the chef can adapt something. Most restaurants are really happy to accommodate if they've got a bit of notice. So almost every other culture around the world is more whole plant-based than we are. In fact, it's estimated that just 15 crop plants provide 90% of the world's food energy, with rice, maize, and wheat making up 2/3 of that. So eating plant-based is a delicious way to experience other cultures and cuisines. So you can try exploring Thai, Japanese, Mexican, Ethiopian, Indian, Vietnamese, and Middle Eastern. You might still need to ask for a few modifications, but many traditional dishes in these cultures are already heavily plant-based. Now, as the saying goes, the best way to get what you want is to ask for it. So before you place your order, take a moment to visualize the meal that you want and be ready to describe it simply. So even small requests like holding the cheese, steaming instead of sauteing, or subbing hummus for mayo can make a big difference. So just be friendly and specific, and if the server doesn't repeat your order back, it's perfectly fine to politely double check. Just to confirm, that'll be steamed, no cheese, and hummus instead of the mayo. So love or hate them, the Golden Arches and their fast food cousins are everywhere. And so chances are one day you'll find yourself in a drive-through or sitting in a red plastic space-age chair wondering what to order. Fortunately, most burger chains now offer plant-based options, and customizing your order is totally normal. Hold the mayo, skip the cheese, swap the patty, it's all business as usual. Buffet-style spots like Subway, Chipotle, or local salad and grain bowl chains are even easier. You choose exactly what you want. And when it comes to fast food, ethnic cuisines often do it better than the West. Veggie sushi, bean burritos, tom yum soup, falafel wraps, chana masala are all just as quick and satisfying as a burger and fries, but often they're lighter, healthier, and more full of plants. And finally, let's talk about how you can accidentally save the planet just by eating more whole foods from plants. Let's start with one of the greatest social, environmental, and human rights challenges that the world has ever faced, climate change. So the climate crisis is here. We've already lost 40% of our Arctic sea ice. Our oceans have become 30% more acidic. The atmosphere is holding more water than ever, and we're seeing record-breaking temperatures and extreme weather events. So while the blame often falls on corporations and governments, and rightly so, our food choices actually play a major role. So every year we use enormous and unsustainable resources to raise billions of animals for food. Land, water, feed, and energy that could be used far more efficiently. Switching to whole foods from plants immediately slashes your impact on emissions, land use, and water waste, and is the most powerful step you can personally take to help fight climate change. So some estimates suggest that animal agriculture may contribute 30% or even more of global greenhouse gas emissions. Producing animal protein also requires significantly more energy.